from last day, we've got our name, and that's all it says right now. And if we want to use this for a watermark, usually it would say, you know, photo by, and then your name, or it would have the name of your photography company. So this might be, you know, Kalisha Welsh Photography or something. So what we need to do is make space to be able to add that into it. When you use your crop tool, usually what we're doing with crop is we're taking a document and we are throwing out part of it. So you're cropping part of a photo. You're getting rid of the excess that you don't want anymore in it. But with the crop tool, you can also add into a document. So go ahead and grab your crop tool with me, which is this one right there. And make sure that your height and width up at the top is cleared out, because we don't want that to have a specific size to it. So just hit the little clear button up here, and you can clear out that height and width. And you can just crop around this and add space. It'll just go to the full document, but once you have it, you can just drag down. So if I want this to say Kalisha Welsh and then the word photography underneath, I would add extra to the bottom. Or if I wanted it to say photo by, I would put extra at the top. So I'm just going to use Kalisha's here and leave some extra space at the top to be able to say photo by in there. Once I've got it, I can hit the check mark, and now my document has increased in size. It's added those pixels into it. At that point, you can grab your text tool, and you can grab a font, and you can grab a size, and you can grab a color, and you could decide, keep it in black as well if you're not already in black, because watermarks are either going to be a lightish gray color or they're going to be more to the white tones, depending on the color that you've got in the actual photo that you'll use them on. So keep it in black, and grab yourself a nice font that you want to use. You can use a straight one, or you can use one that's a little bit funkier if you want to. I'm going to grab this one, and I'm just going to say photo by, and I'll maybe size mine down just a little bit. Now with your font, you can only grab up to 72 points in font, but you can type in another number. So you can see I've typed in 140 right now, and that's still, I think, a bit big. I'm going to go with 125. Maybe even smaller. Yep, that's how I'm doing mine. And you can grab that piece of text and place it however you want it to be placed. Go ahead and resave your file. And you can just save it back over the PSD. And let's also resave it as a PNG file. So do a save as, and you can save it over that same PNG file that you used yesterday. So a PNG down at the bottom of the list. And no interlacing on that PNG. Go ahead and open up any photo in Photoshop. So you can drag from Bridge, just grab any photo and bring it in. And we'll place the watermark on that photo. So to add that watermark now to the photo, we could copy and paste it, but what that'll do is it'll mean that we've got a bunch of resizing to do. And we want this to actually come in a different way to the photo, and then we're going to convert it to a smart object so that we can do some other things to it afterwards. So instead of just copying and pasting that PNG file into it now as a layer, do a file place. So if you go into File and you say Place, then you can go and you can find that file. And mine might take me a while because I've got so darn many things here. And say Place. And it grabs it and it puts it right in the middle of the photo, and it right away is giving you some tools that you can resize it if you need to. So I could take and make it, you know, a little bit bigger or smaller. I can stretch it, and if you are going to keep your proportions the same, when you're stretching and dragging those corners, just hold down your Shift key and it will always stay proportional as to how you want it to be. So you can grab it, you can move it. And that's the nice part about doing a file place, is you don't have to manually go back into the transform tools in order to edit it and transform it and scale it and move it. It just automatically comes in that way. And it's also put it on its own layer, notice. When you've got it the way that you want it, down in the corner usually, sometimes we see watermarks right across the middle of the photo that says like proof or something like that. But once you've got it where you want it, just hit your checkmark tool up at the top and it'll place it on its own layer. Right-click on that layer now itself, and say that you want to convert it to a smart object. And now that it's a smart object, I just actually need to do one more thing. Right-click on it and rasterize the layer as well. And you'll notice that that little square kind of went away on it. Now notice how I can just switch it from black to white. And all I'm doing there is I'm inverting it. So I'm doing a Control-I for invert. So on some photos, you'd want it to maybe be white instead of black. So I can just convert it. And that's why we made this in black to begin with, because the opposite of black is white. If we would have made this thing red, then the opposite of it would have turned it probably some sort of a bluish color. Right? So it would go opposite on the color wheel is what it would do. Now, a lot of times that watermark is really stark, and you don't want it to be quite so bright. You want it to just fade out a little tiny bit. And so to do that, you just change your opacity right here. So instead of being 100% of ink, we can just change the transparency a little bit. And these sliders are kind of cool the way that they work. You can actually grab the arrow, and then you get the slider, and you can turn your opacity down, and you can make it fade into your background. But you don't even have to grab that slider. If you actually just grab right on the word right here, opacity, and just click and hold, it turns into a slider. And then I can just drag it and drop it wherever I need it to go to fade it out. So you can try it in white depending on your image. And if white doesn't work, do a Control-I, invert it to black, and look at your opacity there. It changes it to shades of gray. And that's how you can easily put a watermark on your pictures, is to place it as, do a file place rather than a copy and paste. Once you've got it placed, rasterize it so it changes it into a shape, convert it into a smart object, because then we can do that invert on it and do all sorts of other commands.